I'm James Turk. I'm a director of the GoldMoney Foundation. I'm here with Richard Poulden, who's a director of the only private investor in the Pan-Asia Gold Exchange, which is starting in Kunming, China. I wanted to learn a little bit more about this. I was talking to Ned Naylor-Leyland earlier, who's really keen on the potential of this exchange changing the gold market. How did the exchange come to being?
It's part of the overall Chinese current 12-year plan. And I think where the West tends to miss out on some of these things is the Chinese announced this actually about 4 years ago that they were going to do this. And Kunming City in Yunnan province is one of the old Chinese trade interfaces with India and Southeast Asia. So it's quite natural that they should actually choose Kunming City as the center for this new exchange. And part of this whole strategy is to reinvigorate Kunming City as an interface down to India, Asia, and Southeast Asia.
Go ahead.
What they're setting up exchanges across China. There's the Beijing Gold Exchange, which is primarily focused on retail. It has 60 retail outlets, over 60 across China, to encourage the population to buy gold.
Yes.
And the role of the Pan-Asia Exchange is to trade renminbi spot contracts, so that it will start with a 10-ounce contract for local consumption, and shortly after that has gone live for local consumption, that will go live for international consumption. So people for the first time will be able to trade a gold spot contract in renminbi, number one, and number two, each contract will be backed 1-to-1 by gold.
Yes. I mean, that's the key competitive advantage that the exchange has.
I agree.
How did you choose Kunming as opposed to Shanghai or Beijing?
In truth, we didn't. The Chinese government chose it.
I see. Okay.
This is part of a long-term strategy of pushing the financial services out to parts of the provinces.
I see. Okay. And Kunming is a huge city anyway.
Kunming is the capital of Yunnan province, but it has a long history of trade, financial exchange, and an interface with other parts of the world.
Okay, understood. In terms of
short in Chinese terms, only about 1,000 years.
Yeah, they look at things over the long haul, don't they?
They do.
What is the governance structure for the exchange? How is it structured? Does it have a board of directors? And
it has a board of directors, but ultimately all of this maps back to the government in Beijing. So it's the same level of financial control. It clears through Chinese banks, and there are no Western partner banks in the mix at the moment, only Chinese local banks.
Does it have a clearing house, or is it just cleared through counterparty clearing of the different banks?
It will have its own clearing house. At the moment it clears through the Agricultural Bank.
And who are the members of the exchange? Just these Chinese banks?
At the moment, yes.
Will Westerners be able to participate in this?
Yes, they will.
Through the big name brokerage houses, they'll eventually become members or have some arrangement with the Chinese banks?
The idea is they'll have arrangements with the Chinese banks, or they'll have arrangements with our company, PCFT. But at the moment, the Chinese have been very specific that they want to keep it simply as a Chinese entity.
Okay. Chinese controlled, Chinese regulated?
Correct.
In terms of the metal, where is that going to be stored?
The metal will be stored mainly in China, but we're also setting up storage in London and in Switzerland and probably in the Middle East as well.
How many different storage facilities do you envision?
I don't know.
There'll be a lot eventually?
Well, there will be more than just in China, yes. And the Middle East, I think, is a particularly important area. There's an awful lot of physical gold in the Middle East, and there's quite a Chinese affinity for the Middle East in India. Will
there be an association or a chain of integrity among the dealers so that we know that the gold that's within this chain of integrity is real gold and not some kind of counterfeit gold?
The chain of integrity will be the Chinese regulation. And I think that you'll have to look to that as an investor and consider whether you trust it more than the current Western chain of integrity. I think I would.
Are they London good delivery bars, or they have a smaller size? I mean, what do they envision?
No, they do envisage a smaller size.
Kilo bars?
No, 10 ounce.
10 ounce. That will be the standard throughout?
That will be the standard small bar.
And people can take or make delivery?
Correct.
Of these 10-ounce bars, and
yes.
the gold quality will ultimately be the responsibility of the Chinese government, given that they're backstopping the exchange?
It will be.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready to trade?
No, we're not. We're crystal clear about that. One of the things in China is the launch ceremony has happened. As Ned said in his talk today, a lot of the good and the great were present at that, which gives it the credibility in China.
Yeah, this was just last month, I think, or June perhaps.
That's quite right. And we did a video link to the City of London, and we've put a little video out on the internet, which is very easy to find. If you type PAGE, Gold Exchange, into anything, it'll bring it up.
Right.
Now, what people miss often about China is that when the Chinese say they're going to do something, they just do it. Mm-hmm. And they actually said that this was part of their 12-year plan several years ago. And they've just moved forward. They've now done the launch. The systems are being put in place. The staff are being recruited. It will start trading its local contracts in the fourth quarter of this year, and international contracts should be available first quarter of next year.
Okay. Well, it's really very interesting development. It's going to be quite something to see how this thing merges with the existing gold exchanges that are operating around the world, and it does have some unique competitive advantages, as we discussed in some of the things that Ned explained to me. So I think the future is quite bright, and I wish you much success with it.
James, thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your insight with me on this, I think, increasingly important topic for the gold market.
I think it's fascinating.
Good. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thanks a lot.